Dakshani, please check. Please check YouTube.
Yes, I'm checking.
Dakshani, may we start?
Yes, sure. Please start.
Thank you.
Proshenjitda, we cannot hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Okay. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Vunatu Saha Viryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Dakshani, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Proshenjit sir. A very good morning to our respected delegates, colleagues, and participants. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome all of you to the second day of the 2-day international webinar on yoga, the holistic approach to physiological and psychological homeostasis. I am also honored to take this opportunity to wish all of you a very happy and prosperous Navratri. Moving on to the third scientific session for the day, we are graced by the presence of eminent delegates and academicians, Dr. Avadhesh Kumar Shirotriya, Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, Dr. Rajiv Chaudhary, and Dr. Shubhodev Ganguly. I may also make an announcement. We request our participants to kindly write down their queries in the chat box in YouTube. We shall address them at the end of every lecture. Thank you. We are honored to be able to begin our session for the day with the first lecture from an eminent academician and researcher, Dr. Awadhesh Kumar Shirotriya. Dr. Shirotriya is presently the lecturer and head of the Department of Secondary and Sports Education, School of Education, Fiji National University. He has obtained his PhD in physical education from Devi Ahalya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, in India, and MPhil with sports psychology specialization from Lakshmibai National University of Physical Education, Gwalior, India. He started his teaching career as lecturer in 2009. He has been involved in teaching and research in the field of physical education and sports sciences for more than 10 years. In addition to educating B.Ed in service and pre service students, he also engages in research and service to the profession. His research aims to empower the physical education teachers so that they can create an impact on schools. He is also contributing as a member of the editorial board and reviewer in various national and international esteemed journals. He has produced 20 research articles and papers in journals of national and international repute and also written 4 books. Dr. Shirotriya's articles on contemporary sports related issues are frequently published in Sports Krira, New Delhi, and the Fiji Times. He also has a rich experience in organizing several national and international level conferences. He has been instrumental in bringing about changes and achievements in sports of Birla Institute of Management and Technology, Greater Noida, India, as sports officer. He has received a commendation from the Office of the Additional Director General, Prisons, Government of Uttar Pradesh for his contribution to the establishment of BIMTech Pustakalaya in different prisons of UP, India. Dr. Shirotriya will be presenting his lecture on yoga, the sustainable medium for global peace and harmony. Over to Dr. Shirotriya.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Just I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible?
Not yet, sir.
I think now it's visible.
No, sir, not yet, sir. Yes, sir, now it is visible.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much. So, namaste to all of you and happy Navratri to all. So, at the outset of this presentation, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the Government General Degree College, Mohanpur, West Bengal, for being inviting me in this event. And let me tell you one thing very honestly. I must appreciate the college principal and all the members of the organizing committee for organizing such a wonderful event. And this topic is very relevant in the ongoing series of virtual transforming education, which is essential to making life easy and calm in the wake of COVID-19. And my series of acknowledgement will be incomplete if I forgot to thank Dr. Mahapatra and the local PAFI chapter, especially Dr. Kishorji, for providing this virtual platform to interact with my own countrymates. So here you can see these are my some takeaways, and I'm hoping that after my deliberation, all the participants will be in a position to understand these concepts. Simply, these are some takeaways of my lectures. Although some of you might be knowing that the importance of peace, harmony, and what are the linkage between yoga and our peace. But just I would like to highlight some new innovative research in front of you. COVID-19, unexpected guest. Atithi tum kab jaoge? Like this. So the COVID-19 pandemic has created the largest disruption of education system in the history, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 190 countries and all the continents. The COVID-19 pandemic is considered as the most crucial global public health problem after the World War II. And this COVID-19 pandemic is far more than a health crisis. It is affecting societies and economies also. While the impact of the pandemic will vary from country to country, it will most likely increase poverty and inequalities on a global scale. We all are affecting. You cannot say that some people are not being affected, but all are affecting with this COVID-19 unexpected guest. And see, we cannot do anything because of certain issues. Our medical practitioners, they are doing their best to develop medicines for this COVID-19. But what we can do, let me tell you with this lecture, we can do some yogic activities, yogic practice to channelize our positive energy, to channelize our negative energy into the positive direction. And here you can see the International Yoga Day. The United Nations proclaimed 21st June as International Yoga Day by passing a resolution on December 11, 2014 during the 69th session of General Assembly. And at this session, our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, had said, yoga is an invaluable gift from our ancient tradition. He has emphasized a lot on our heritage. Yoga embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, a holistic approach that is valuable to our health and our well-being. Yoga is not just about exercise. It is a way to discover the sense of oneness with yourself, the world, and the nature. And you can see the theme for the first edition of International Yoga Day was harmony and the peace. The same is my topic for today. Yoga surge. In the second week of March, when the WHO announced that the number of COVID-19 cases outside China had increased, just after this announcement, the Harvard Medical School's health blog published an article titled Coping with Coronavirus Anxiety. The writer himself suggested yoga, meditation, and breathing as three distinct ways of relaxation. He even offered names of apps for the Western people: Yoga Studio, Pocket Yoga, Headspace, and Calm, ironically, all owned and developed in the West. So here you can see what he has suggested in his article and which got published in Harvard Medical School journal blog. And the search trends also show how our lives had changed. The WHO in its media briefing on March 20th, 2020, days before India's lockdown, listed yoga as one of the ways of making time for exercise. Soon, the floodgate opened. Google recorded a surge in searches. For example, on April 27 at 4:20 p.m., searches for clothing brand Alu Yoga or Elo Yoga spiked 4,150% in the US over a 30 days period compared to the previous 30 days. And searches for yoga poses for kids went up by 3,650% in India. And you will be surprised to know that sun salutation in the UK, United Kingdom, shot up by over 5,000 percentage. These jumps in numbers made it what Google Trends called a breakout. So you can see now people are practicing yoga to build their immunity system and to channelize their energies also, because we all have been affected a lot with this unexpected guest COVID-19. So what we can do right now, just we can calm and we can do some relaxation, and this is very essential in the wake of COVID-19, because most of the things have been shut down and are going to be shut down because of certain issues, the economical impact and societal impact also. So the peace, what is peace? Peace may be different from different person, but by and large, peace is a stress-free state of security and calmness that comes when there is no fighting or war. Everything coexisting in perfect harmony and the freedom. We all live our lives in search of peace, calmness, love, and happiness. Yoga provides inner peace for better control over your life by balancing of energies, body, mind, and our soul. Yoga provides inner space. When you are practicing yoga, you will find it, because it would be very difficult to describe the real essence of yoga. Theoretically, you can understand, but when you are practicing yoga, some yogic activities, then you will find immense benefit. Yoga has also imparts longevity to human beings. Lots of research studies have been proved. And yoga is only one of the instrument of inner peace on an individual level and global peace at the global level through the practice of science of peace and yoga. And yoga in the lockdown realized that more than physical fitness, yoga helps in reducing negativity, reducing anxiety, stress, depression, and which is very important right now. Yoga can be a powerful tool to deal with lockdown uncertainty. Since we don't have any other option, so we can opt it. And this with these virtual platforms, most of the colleges and the universities educational setups are disseminating the knowledge, and this is all one of the good step to reduce the anxiety and to divert their negative energies. So many scientific research studies, not only in India, even in abroad, have proved that yoga is not just a physical exercise program. It is a scientific system designed to generate greater clarity and harmony in life. Harvard Business School, Harvard Medical Schools, they are doing good researches on yoga and some yogic activities, because they are now finding it a real essence of peace. And with regular exercise, individuals often notice a stronger, slimmer, and more flexible body. So you will find plenty of the benefits, like the physical benefits, psychological benefits, and the spiritual benefits too. Now the health professionals, public health professionals, are aware of the therapeutic values of yoga. Even in the Western countries, they are they are including yogic activities in their curriculum. And many introduce approaches as psychophysiological and spiritual technique in their treatment also. Not in jail, not in hospital, everywhere, even in primary schools. Research also indicates that asanas increase the patient's physical flexibility, strength, coordination, balance, while the pranayama and meditation practice calm and focus the mind to enhance higher self-awareness and lessen anxiety. So here you can see creating sustainable development goals, SDGs. I will be discussing in next few slides. So, global peace on the earth is an ultimate state of contentment and freedom amongst the within all nation and the humanity. It's a global challenge, sustainable development goals, how we can make it possible together globally. It's a joint effort, and at the same sporadic and acute societal unrest, including religion, fanatism, terrorism, political, and some other issues like this COVID-19 issues. These kind of things, these interpersonal conflicts may escalate to institutional aggression, hostility, deviance, and sometimes the war. World peace is desirable, and peace brings both material and spiritual benefits to the societies. Yoga is not just for self transformation, but it is an instrument for a global peace that provides internal, emotional, and spiritual reconciliation and healing. It gives one the self strength and capability to approach conflicts from a space of mindfulness, meditation, compassion, and love. In such circumstances, peace is inevitable. The essence of peace is inevitable. Here you can see I have attached the tweet while doing some work on Twitter. Suddenly, I found this tweet of Tedros, who is an Director General of the World Health Organization. What he has written is in his tweet, Shanti. Now you can assume the pressure and impact of this COVID 19. We all are people helpless. The highest governing body in the field of health, the DG, Director General, the first man of this organization, is feeling helpless now. This man itself is a helpless now and striving to get peace. This is why United Nations Director, WHO spokesperson are always promoting principle of peace. And how you can attain it? With the help of yogic activities, pranayama, asanas, and some other kind of activities. Peace through yoga, because the Global Peace Initiative has recognized the leading scientifically established meditation based technologies of consciousness. Yoga aims at transforming our lifestyle, and its awareness can help us in our struggle against the COVID 19 or the similar like virus tensions. The practice of yoga brings about balance, well being, happiness, and freedom to live with fully joyness. And yoga poses integrate a combination of physical health, spiritual health, which helps to cope up with the various tensions, issues which we are experiencing in day-to-day life. We can get a calm and relaxed state of mind, and our sense of both internal and external well-being also improves when we are doing yogic activities at least 20 to 30 minutes. There are so many yogic activities, so it's divide, and it's not applicable for every activities, but there should be some guidelines, there should be some scientific principles which you need to follow while doing these yogic activities. Pranayama and the asanas and some other activities, breathing and the nadi shuddhi kriyas always require some principles and some basic understanding. So here you can see a famous philanthropist and yoga promoter, Shri Sadhguru. I have attached one of the very important question in front of you. Sadhguru's talks at the United Nations on June 20th, 2016 about its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. In an interview with Maxwell Kennedy, an author, he explains how American author. He explains how yoga is the key to finally achieving these long-standing goals. So here you can see the answer. In pursuit of human well-being, we have been doing all kind of things. We have been looking up for a long time, which has led to the humanity being divided in the name of religion, caste, creed, and so many different ways. Now, in the last 50 years, we are seriously looking out and ripping the planet apart. All the environmental degradation that we are talking about is just in pursuit of human well-being. In the last 100 years, definitely we are the most comfortable generation ever. But people are not happy or peaceful because we have not addressed one inner nature. So it is very important to know yourself. Who am I? Why I'm living? Why I'm doing such kind of activities? To whom I'm answerable? So these kind of things, answers of all these kind of questions, you will get when you are doing some pranayama, meditation exercise. You need to talk to yourself. Like in sports psychology, the pep talk is there. So you need to talk, boost up talk. Now you can see there are so many motivation, what you call there are so many speakers who are now speaking about the motivation. They are just boosting your confidence, your motivation. But you can do yourself. What you need to do, just need to talk to yourself. The self talk, pep talk. Now, harmony. A person who does not possess physical, mental, spiritual, and the sociological well being is a danger for himself and the society as well. Today, the current society is overflooded with evil, negativity, violence, corruption, selfishness, and inhuman activities. Why? Because person living in a society is not a mentally, socially, and spiritually healthy. Physically, we can healthy. We people are just trying to improve our physical appearance. But as far as concern for the good health is concerned, you have to improve all the aspects of your good health, be it spiritual, be it physical, be it mental. So you have to improve all the aspects. Now, many youngsters, they are just focusing on their physical appearance. They are just following some Bollywood actors and they are they are developing their six pack abs, but they are not doing any work for the development of their mind. He is deprived of moral values. Many men, they are deprived. He lacks clarity and understanding to act. How can we act? The quick decision maker when you are practicing some meditation activities, definitely you are going to be a quick decision maker. It improves our sharpness, attention skills. And see, as the Gita says, I just forgot the right page number and the shlokas number. Yoga karmasu kaushalam, which implies that skill in action lies in yoga, or the excellence in action is yoga. Yoga means balance, harmony, and unity. Universal balance, harmony of body, brain, soul, and unity of the individual. Consciousness with the cosmic consciousness. So two consciousness are there. We have to make we have to understand them and also sketch the line to differentiate them. Individual consciousness and the cosmic consciousness. And needless to say, when you are doing some meditation, mindfulness meditation, you will be in a position to draw the line. Good, you can be a good sketcher. You can draw a good line between these two terms. cosmic, and the individual consciousness. Swami Vivekananda once said that the character building is a nation building. Yoga means the union with the helps and develop this strong character, moral character. Yoga is said to be the journey of the self, to the self, through the self, and one established in it, one discover his true nature and the potential. One's get to develop true values and moral naturally. Yoga makes us deeply aware and sensitive towards us and others too, establishing clarity of the thought and purity of mind, turning ones towards a balanced, harmonized, and meaningful life. And when you are doing yoga on a regular basis, then you will come to know economic and the sustainable way. Why I am using this word, the economic and sustainable way? When you are comparing the traditional yoga, now you can see that there are so many yoga like the pole yoga, the gravitational yoga, the Christian yoga, and what you call the gym yoga. There are so many people who have now invented varieties of yoga. But when you are comparing with all these new yoga with our traditional, our Indian heritage, then you will find yogic activity does not require a big space, any equipment like other all fitness equipments. You just need to find the good space and one yoga mat. If you don't have a yoga mat, you can use some other things also, bed sheet also. So this is very economic. No space is required until and unless you are not what you call, you're not supposed to come in a unhealthy atmosphere, because majority of the peoples are, they are very related, they themselves made a servant of luxury life. They don't want to excuse the air condition, air con, every time they want some luxury life, they want some peaceful environment. Although yoga is a medium to get a peaceful environment, atmosphere, but for this you have to be very tolerant as well as seeker to get the real essence of yogic activities. Sustainable way, you can see now World Health Organization, United Nations, they all are emphasizing a lot on the yogic activities. And yoga is welcome the world over, its health promoting, wellness, uh, creating aspects, and research over many years has shown that efficacy of yoga practicing, including meditation, in establishing homeostasis in non-communicable diseases by reducing stress level and promoting a healthy life. The interconnectedness of our mind, body, correcting the imbalance have been intensively investigated to provide a holistic service framework to the society. You can check. And the recent pandemic, this COVID 19, has disrupted or halted critical mental health, mental depressive disorders, MDD. And in a recent survey, WHO has found 93% of countries worldwide, according to a new survey conducted from June to August 2020. The survey of 130 countries provide the first global data showing the far-reaching impact of COVID-19 on access to mental health services. 93%. Now you can check. the damage to the society, what he has caused. And expert says this pandemic is increasing demand for mental health, yogic practitioners, other services such as bereavement, isolation, loss of income, and fear are triggering mental health condition. Yoga has proven beneficial in treating mental illness such as PSTD, post traumatic stress disorder, and generalized anxiety disorders. Yoga classes in the workplace have helped to reduce some physical issues like the back pain, reduce sickness, absence, and increase in the productivity of the employees. There are so many studies which have been carried out on the corporate sector in India also. Yoga postures, yogic activities can go a long way in improving the practitioners' mental and physical, and also boosting self esteem, self confidence, and brings the happiness, calmness through their positive benefits on the autonomous nervous system. So this is a sustainable way. But now these our heritage gotten huge attention from the worldwide to combat with the COVID-19. So here you can see the sustainable development goals, or generally we are calling them as the global goals, represent the world's collective vision for achieving a better planet for all by 2030. In 2030, all the 17 SDGs were created by all countries coming together to decide kind of world we want our children to grow up, and they provide clear goals and timelines for ending extreme poverty, providing decent work for all, reversing the world environmental crisis, climatic issues, educational issues, health issues, and some other issues. At the same time, important goals like sustainability, economic equality, and social justice can often feel too heady, abstract, and distant from our lives. Embodied practices such as yoga provide an opportunity to deeply, intimately connect with these principles and the unfolding global vision present in the Sustainable Development Goals. In the last line, you can check in the slide, United Nations spotlights health benefits of yoga, ancient practice that can ease stress of our modern laptop lives. Majority of the people are love to live a sedentary life because of certain reason, because of work pressure, because of other things. And now, recently, I came to know that because of this lockdown, majority of the peoples are doing are doing their work from home, are also facing so many issues related to their mental well-being, because they are doing so many works at same point of time. Child issues, their child activities, and all other kind of things they are facing right now. They don't have a choice to move outside to do some physical workout, physical activities because of certain reasons. So it is but obvious, quite obvious, that we have to live some sedentary life. But we have so many options, what we are doing, what we can do for our mental well-being as well as the physical well-being. We can opt some physical activities, household chores we can do. We can help to our spouse, as well as our parents for day to day household activities. And we can also engage our children in such kind of activities. And in this slide, you can check what are the 17 sustainable development goals. And now majority of the leading universities are focusing that yoga and its associated activities can lead to the success. Means you can see no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being. Somehow all the things are very much connected to our inner peace, consciousness, individual consciousness, the cosmic consciousness. So that is why they are doing good work to promote yoga, as well as choose yoga as a medium to achieve these 17 development goals. At last, I would like to conclude my lecture by saying that primary aim of yogic activities is to promote harmony, peace, and that we allow the expression of health and our wellness. And meditation is a very important for those who want to achieve calmness and stillness, or to have a healthier body, pure mind or soul. In this tough time, I'm suggesting to do some yogic activities to divert negative thoughts. And needless to say, yoga brings peace, illumination, and the self awareness. But when you can get it, when you are doing some regular action on this, whatever may be the action, be it the asanas, performing asanas, or doing some meditation activities, be regular for the time being. Then only you can get the real essence of these yogic activities. And in this present scenario, please try to involve your all the family members in these activities. You can make it the group activities. Some parts cannot be considered as a group activities, like the meditation. You have to do alone to achieve a success, to achieve real mean of real essence of the meditation. But other things you can do in a group. I mean, this you can include other members of the family. And my presentation is over now, and I'm ready to take your questions, and also ready to sort out any conflict of interest if you have found in my presentation. Thank you very much. And once again, happy Navratri, happy Durga Puja to all. Over to you, Dr. Mahapatra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for elaborately explaining the importance and contribution of yoga in maintaining the peace and harmony of the present day society and the world. Thank you once again. Sir, with your due permission, I would like to state that we do not have any questions for this lecture as of now. With your lucid and elaborate lecture, I think there is no doubt from what you have already said.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you
once
very
again.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Moving on, we are honored to have an acclaimed and eminent academician as our next speaker, Dr. Sharup Prasad Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh is presently the director of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies, Kolkata. He has obtained his higher education from St. Xavier's College in Jadavpur University, Kolkata. His doctoral dissertation was entitled Swami Vivekananda's Views on the Role of Religion and Caste in India's Social Political Life, a Contemporary Perspective. His postdoctoral researches have also been based on similar views and ideas. His main field of study is social sciences. Dr. Ghosh is also associated with the Ramakrishna Mission for a long period. His doctoral and postdoctoral dissertations are all published by reputed publishers from Kolkata. He has written numerous articles in all standard newspapers and journals published from Kolkata. He has attended several seminars, conferences, workshops, symposia all throughout India. He is a known commentator in television channels of Kolkata. Being an orator, he has participated in different debate competitions conducted by various newspaper groups, television channels, etc. He has received awards from different organizations in India. He has also worked as registrar under Padma Shri Professor Ramaranjan Mukherjee when he was the chairman of Board of Governors at that time. He has also worked as registrar under Professor Bhavesh Bhattacharya and Professor Pritimoy Bhattacharya, who were directors at different times. He has served as Dean of Academics and Controller of Examinations under Professor Ashok Ranjan Thakur, who was the Vice Chancellor at that time. He is a court member of the Sikkim University, located at Gangtok, Sikkim. Dr. Ghosh will be presenting his lecture on Swami Vivekananda's concept of Vedanta. Over to Dr. Ghosh. I think for some reason, Dr. Ghosh, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My respectful regards to each and all of you, sisters and brothers who are present today in this webinar. I've been told to talk on the concept of Vedanta as conceptualized by Swami Vivekananda. My previous speaker was speaking on yoga, and I was remembered that when we talk of Ramayana, which is very close to our heart, as we learn from Swami Vivekananda.
Sir, I'm extremely sorry to interrupt. Sir, kindly switch on your video, please. Thank you, sir. You are visible now.
I will be throwing light to Ramayana as conceptualized by Swami Vivekananda to go into Vedanta gradually. My previous speaker was speaking on yoga. And as we conceptualize, Lord Sri Ram is the epitome of Jnana Yoga. He's the Jnani there. Lakshmana is the expression of Bhakti Yoga, his love, respect, and reverence for his elder brother, the Purushottam. Bharata got the kingdom, but he has not touched the kingdom. He walked as a representative. He is the expression of Karma Yoga. The youngest Shatrugna was part of the team, but he never ever dreamt of having any name, fame, or an individual identity except being part of the team. He is the expression of Raj Yoga. So these four brothers are four in one and one in four. And as we understand deeply their life, we will understand what Jnana Yoga, what Karma Yoga, what Bhakti Yoga, and what Raj Yoga means to us, and how these can be applied in our way of life. Swami Vivekananda conceptualized Vedanta in his lectures on practical Vedanta, how the classical Vedanta can be applied and applied in our life. So there was an expression given by his guru Sri Ramakrishna once. He was saying that when you walk on the lands in India, which are cultivable lands, they're divided. The plots are divided. And in Indian terminologies, they're called alls. Now, if you walk on those alls, you have to be very careful, otherwise you will fall. So Gyan Yoga is something you have to be very, very cautious when you move, because it moves through debate, it moves through discussion, it moves through the ways which needs a Sadguru. Otherwise, if you want to be an engineer, you have to go to an engineering college. And if you want to move on the path of Gyan Yoga, you need a Sadguru. Now, he told that this is the path I give to Vivekananda. For commoners, what he told to understand Vedanta, he told Bhakti Yoga. Why Bhakti Yoga? Because he gave a wonderful example that when there is a shower, the cultivable fields are filled with water. You take a boat from the house of the Jivatma and move to the house of the Paramatma. All the debates and discussions lie at the bottom. There is a problem of intellectualism also. Intellectualism cannot solve all the problems on earth. There is a difference between knowledge and wisdom. If Swami Vivekananda is the ultimate of knowledge, Sri Ramakrishna is the ultimate of wisdom. Knowledge can take you to some step, but it can't be the ultimate answer to the ultimate truth. Wisdom is the ultimate answer to the ultimate truth. And the entire process of Vedanta and yoga is to move nearer to your real self and move away from your apparent self. As Sri Ramakrishna used to tell, Choto Ami and Boro Ami. Now, when you move from Jivatma to Paramatma, the debates lie in between. The intellectuals are too much overwhelmed. The way they have presented papers, where they have discussed and debated matters, how they have defeated their opposition, and they're happy with it. That's just external exercises. They seldom touch the inner soul. And as long as it doesn't touch the inner soul, it is just a way that you take in your own manner as the manifestation of the expression. But as we say that education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man, we also say that religion is the manifestation of the divinity already in man. And there is a mistake we do. Vedanta takes us nearer to dharma. And dharma is not the synonym of religion, neither religion expresses all the features of dharma. The tragedy is when we try to understand Indian way of life, or when we try to understand the Vedantic approaches from Western perspectives, we generally try to find out synonyms. As Sanskriti is not the synonym of culture, dharma is not the synonym of religion, neither itihash is the synonym of history. This superimposing Western synonyms on Sanskrit expressions is a problem we are facing. We should understand that India has its own root and own ways, which she has chalked out for herself for thousands and thousands of years. This is not a nation of salad balls like the New World. We are an old nation with a very rich civilization. When Machiavelli was walking on the roads of Europe, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking on the roads of India. When Karl Marx was walking on the roads of Europe, Sri Ramakrishna was walking on the roads of India. So there lies the difference between our approach to life, and our yoga and our Vedanta is the expression of that approach to life. So divorced from spirituality, divorced from the inner expressions of Vedanta, the Indian understanding can never be touched. According to the Indian realization or the Vedantic realization, spirituality is at the core, at the substructure. And all material perspectives is at the superstructure. It's the periphery. And what we say at the core of Vedanta, and my previous speaker was talking on yoga, if you want to touch the heart of Vedanta, if you want to touch the soul of the yoga, the first expression is non-injuring anybody. And that is not only by sword or by pen, also by thought and words too, and deeds at last. So we think that I have not injured anybody through sword or through words. But what about the thought? What about the words? What about the deeds? This non-injuring anyone is the first step of attending the yogic and the Vedantic expression of life. What he says second, speaking the truth in thought, word, and deed. His guru said that in the Kali Yuga, speaking the truth is a sadhana, and truth at all times. And as long as you are doing so, you are practicing religion. When you are doing something else, either in thought or deed or word, you are not practicing religion. And when you are not practicing dharma, it's not a question that you are either closer to yoga or to Vedanta. I started that Ramachandra is the expression of Gyan Yoga, Lakshmana, the Bhakti Yoga, Bharata, Raja, the Karma Yoga, and the youngest brother Satrughna, the Raj Yoga. If we understand, then we come nearer to the four margyas, that is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. We gradually say Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We don't say Artha, Dharma, Kama, Moksha, Kam, Dharma, Artha, Moksha. We say Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. The root, the substructure is Dharma, and the ultimate realization is the Moksha. Artha and Kama is tied with Dharma and Moksha. If you can tie Artha and Kama with Dharma and Moksha, then only you can go nearer to the concepts of Vedanta. Or you can touch what yoga want to mean and say. And when this Chaturmarga is realized, we go nearer to Chaturasrama, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. It's not an expression of kinship-based endogamous groups at all. It has nothing to do with birth. Gita clearly says, Guna Karma Vibhajana. It's based on qualities, on merit. It is the polluted concept that we tie it with birth. It is division of labor and based on merit. It's not attached to title, or it's neither attached to birth. And when we say this Chaturashram, it is tied with Chaturmarga, Dharma with Brahmacharyashram, Artha with Garasthashram. Kama, this Kama is not material Kama or material desires. It is Deva Kama, spiritual desires. The transition period, Vanaprastha. And Moksha is tied with Sannyasa. And when we realize that, then we understand the four Vedas, Riga Veda, Swama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. And when we understand the four Vedas, then only we understand the Vedanta. So they are all tied with each other. It's not separated. There is a classical concept of Vedanta and there is a practical concept of Vedanta which Swami Vivekananda conceptualized. The classical is for monks. The practical is for householders. And it's not that all the slokas and the rims written in the Vedas are written by all sages. Kings have contributed. Great women has contributed. This contribution came from all strata of the society. It is not only the monks and the Brahmins who have contributed. Shudras have contributed. Women have contributed. Kings have contributed. Vaishyas have contributed. And it has been a contribution of all sections of the society. That's why it doesn't carry a single name. It's nameless, but it's the expression of the truth. The expression how we move away from the relative truth to ultimate truth. And then it says how you reach perfect chastity in thought, word, and deed. How we reach this perfect chastity in thought, word, and deed. We are in the midst of Durga Puja. And we say, if you go by the Vedas, Vedas don't sanction any image worship. It's Nirakara Brahma. Brahmanandam Paramashukadam Kevalam Jnanamurting Dandatitam Gavarshadrisham Tatto Vashwadi Laksham Ekam Rittam Vimalamachalam Sarvathi Shakshi Shibhutam Bhavatritam Trunarhitam Sat Gurutam Namami. It speaks of eternal and it speaks of God without form, without shape, without essence, without rupa. But then why we do image worship? We do it as a part of meditation. It's not image, it's Svaguna Brahma. We Hindus don't do image worship. We do what? Sagun Brahma Aradhana. It's Aradhana of Saguna Brahma in our way to reach the Nirguna Brahma. From Saguna Brahma to Nirguna Brahma. So to reach the Vedantic concepts, it is taken as a part of meditation. And we are into Durga Puja. Navratri has started. Very auspicious. Now what? We say the mother, Brahma Mahima. She is the expression of Brahma Guna. And mother is the expression of Brahma Guna because mother is the epitome of all knowledge. If father, mother, and guru is standing together, our Shastra Dharma says, first Matri Deva Bhava. If I want to become a monk, the permission of mother is needed. Whether father permits or father doesn't, it matters little. When Buddha came back, the great Tathagata bowed down to his mother, the father bowed down to Buddha. It's not the other way around. The state of mother in our Hindu cultural understanding is much, much higher than father. The blessing of mother has been equated with the blessing of the Lord, not father. That's why Brahmamai Ma, mother, is conceptualized as the epitome of Brahma Guna. The lion, the king of the forest, Shing, is the epitome of Rajaguna. And the demon king, Asura, is the epitome of Tamaguna. And the prayer lies that, oh mother, give me the strength so that the Brahma Guna remains active with me, active within me for the coming 1 year and years after till the end of my life. The Rajaguna, it is the activity part, remains guided by Brahma Guna. That is moralism, spirituality. The activities should be guided by moralism, spirituality. And the evils of my expression should be flattened, should evaporate. And then only we can go for perfect chastity in thought, word, and deed. That's why this image worship leads us ultimately to the yogic worships and then ultimately to the Nirakar Om. Perfect, seenless in thought, word, and deed. Our Hindu ideas never say that anyone is a sinner. Our Hindu ideas say that, okay, you are at this stage of development, let's walk together so that you can go at the higher stage, from the higher stage to the higher state, from lower truth to higher truth, from higher truth to highest truth. Because each is the expression of the ultimate, each is the expression of the Om. That's why we believe in the universal oneness of the humanity, irrespective of its innate diversity. That has been the basis of Vedanta. In all Semitic religions, if you are part of the Semitic brotherhood, you are part of the universal brotherhood. In Vedantic concept, whether you are part or you aren't, you are part of the universal oneness. And there the Vedantic concept is one step ahead. That's why it's called the mother concept. As mother never rejects anyone, accepts each and all. Vedanta never rejects anyone, it accepts each and all. And there lies the holiness in the Vedantic power. And when we realize this, and as long as we realize this, we are working with the Vedantic spirit. Otherwise, we are talking on it, we are not working. And that's the tragedy of the Kali Yuga. We talk too much on Vedanta, we don't apply these in our life, deeds, thoughts, and actions. And Vedanta practically is just the opposite. You talk less on it, do more on it. And that's why what it says, the Vedic sacrificial altar was the origin of geometry too. When you do sacrifice, you create an altar. And if you go to the root of geometry, if you go deep to the mathematical explanations, Now researchers are coming nearer to the Vedic mathematic explanations. Ancient Indian mathematics is closely tied with Vedas and the Vedanta. The concept of zero is closely tied with our ancient past. Now he is omnipotent, the one without a second, the one without a body, pure, the great poet of the universe, whose meteor is the suns and the stars, is giving to each what he deserves, as the Ishopanishad says. The Katha Upanishad remained at the base of Swami Vivekananda's main motivating force, as Ishopanishad remained the base at Rabindranath Tagore's main motivational force. So the powers of creation, preservation, and destruction of the universe, and the attributes such as omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotent make the ultimate transcendental spirit in heaven a motivating force for each and all. And to realize it, understand it through being and becoming is the role of practical Vedanta. And what we have learned in the Upanishads, which is closely tied with our Vedas, Vedanta, studied by the monks. Nachiketa, youth, and his questions, answers teach us that how we should question ourselves and how we can reach to the ultimate. Pray to God and to all the prophets and saviors of the world and the Holy Spirit in the universe to help you. And there is the universality of Vedanta. It never preaches ill feelings to any path. And that's why it is the universal religion. If we want to understand that is there any universal religion on the surface of the earth, it is Vedanta first, Vedanta second, and Vedanta at last. Because it preaches no ill feelings to anyone. It rejects none. It accepts all. And it accepts God as an expression of love. And how it expresses the 5 stages of love. First, man wants to help and has a little fear. How you lead yourself from the state of fearfulness to fearlessness. I talked about how Sagun Brahma in Ma Durga leads us to Nirgun Brahma. In the same way, the Shagun Brahma, Ma Kali leads us to Nirgun Brahma. And that's a state of fearfulness to fearlessness. Kali is another roop of Durga. Kali and Durga is not divorced from each other. It's the 2 different roots of the same mother. And what we say when we sit for any meditation, what concepts should come to our mind? God is omnipotent, God is omnipresent, God is omniscient. When we sit anywhere in the world, which surrounds us, the sky, the color of mother is sky blue. First impression at the time of meditation. If you divide, on the right hand side of Kali, she is unarmed. In the left hand side of Kali, she is armed. If you divide brain into two parts, the right hand side is expression of love, emotion, philosophy. Left, calculative, quantitative. Mother is standing on Shiva, the expression of consciousness, the unity of Shakti and consciousness. If you have power without consciousness, Hiroshima and Nagasaki will take place. If you have power with consciousness, then you can reach to Vedas. Then you can reach to Upanishads. Then you can touch the ultimate. And the head, the expression of all good and all bad, the factory of all manufacturing of good ideas and bad ideas. In meditation, it is worship that, oh mother, let it be at your disposal. You take the command. If mother remains the command of my expressions, my thought process, then I gradually come out of the state of fearfulness to fearlessness. And if I am derailed during meditation, the kharga, the power to punish, is with mother. Because if you see a son being beaten by mother, and the father calls, Beta, aa. But the son never goes to the father. He or she remains with the mother because the son, the little boy, the little girl knows there is none on the earth who can be a better protector than mother, not even father. That's why the power to punish is given to mother, nobody else. On the other side, you have Ashirvad and Varabhay. If your power is touched with consciousness, if your thought process is at the disposal of mother, if you are not derailed in the process of meditation, then automatically you reach a state when you get the blessings of the mother. If you get the blessings of the mother, you reach the state of fearlessness. That's why it's saying that Deva Bhava in Bhakti Yoga, through Bhakti Yoga, reaching the state of Satchidananda, you have to be fearless. And this is the Kali sadhana, to become fearless. Second, when God is treated as protector, if I accept that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, if I accept the spiritual oneness and the universal oneness, then whom to go and search for mercy? There is a beautiful story. A beggar went to a king. Why? He went to a king to ask some charity. And when we went, he saw that the king is begging in front of the Lord. So he thought, why I will ask for charity from a beggar? I'm a beggar, he's a beggar. So let me ask for charity from the Lord. And thus the beggar became a yogi. And that's the greatness of India. In the West, the poor becomes a revolutionary. In the East, the poor becomes a yogi. In the West, you take birth and think about material prosperity. In the East, you take birth and think about how I can be united with the Lord. There is a difference between the soul of Europe and the soul of Asia. All great preachers and teachers were born in Asia. They're Asians by birth. And that's why when Asians try to color their thought process with the European ideas, there is a logical fallacy always. And that logical fallacy leads them to illusion. Otherwise, in our philosophy, there is no illusion. Third, when God is mother, all women are looked as the expression of that motherhood. And the idea of mother God starts when bhakti comes. We don't say Ram Sita, we say Siya Ram. We don't say Krishna Radha, we say Radhe Shyam. It's Thakur who bowed down and worshipped Sri Sri Ma. It's not the other way around. In Dakshineshwar Kali temple, the seat of prayer of Sri Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna came down and worshipped Ma Swarda Devi. It's not that Swarda Devi worshipped Sri Sri Ramakrishna. She respected Sri Ramakrishna. But the worship Sri Ramakrishna did. And Sri Ma is worshipped as the expression of Ma Bhavatarini. That's why when we pray that I want this, I want that, we limit God, that I know better than you what I want. That's why I am giving you a list of charters, a charter of lists, a charter of items, that these are the things I want and you please give me these things. This is a businessman relation. God doesn't want a businessman in front of him. He wants a bhakt, a disciple. When we go to his temple with a charter of wants, I want A, I want a good house. B, I want a good car. C, I want a good job. D, I want a good wife. Then I want a son or a daughter. Then I want name. I want fame. I want wealth. I want health. All you go with a charter, then you are going as a businessman. He wants a bhakt to come. And that is learned from the Maryada Purushottam, Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra. He never wanted anything from the Lord. And that's why he became Lord himself. He was the expression of the Lord. Leela Purushottam Sri Krishna. He never wanted anything. That's why he's the expression of the Lord. And that is why India is not a geography or a map to us. It's a consciousness to us. But Jada Purushottam Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra uniting Ajodhya to Lanka, north with the south. Leela Purushottam Bhagavan Sri Krishna uniting Vrindavan with Dwarka, east with the west. And that has been the landmass of the consciousness of Ramayana and Mahabharata. you know nearer, dearer the characters of Rama and Mahabharata, you move nearer to the concept of the Vedas. And as you go nearer to the concept of Vedas, you learn what Vedanta is. With these words, I come to the end of my deliberation. My time is over. I have taken few minutes more than the time allotted to me. Sorry to the organizers for that. I've taken 5 to 7 minutes more than the time allotted to me.
No,
So
sir.
I
You're
beg pardon
absolutely
for
on time.
I beg pardon for that. With these words, thank you for giving me an opportunity to express sharing my views with all of you with this learned August assembly. A happy Navratri and a Shubho Durga Pujo to all of you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the lucid explanation of Swamiji's ideas of Vedanta, the path from Shaguna Brahma to Niguna Brahma, the stages of love, and how it is the mother who is the ultimate protector, and so on. Thank you once again. There is at present no questions from the audience.
Sir, I want to know something from you actually. Sir, last 1 to 2 centuries, Western world are fighting with different theories like socialism, capitalism, communism, etc. And they all are blaming each other. But the net result, what we have got is that they have completely failed to bring anything to the to us, life, liberty, prosperity. They gave nothing to us, but they are blaming to each other. Capitalism is saying the communism is bad. Communism is saying socialism is bad. So to some extent, I think that there are some similarities in them which can be contradicted by through our Vedanta. And sir, I'm telling you that we have more 30 minutes extra times. Actually, our next speaker will speak from 12. So, sir, you have time and we want to hear from you. This is very relevant topic in the present scenario, I think, sir. Please.
See, capitalism developed on the strength of imperialism, and socialism was a reaction to capitalism. If Europe is rich today because Africa, Latin America, and Asia is poor, the ancient civilizations, the rich civilizations, if you find, was in Asia. India contributed 1/4 of the world GDP before the religio-cultural imperialism and the political economic imperialists came to India. So imperialism always is based on selfishness, mind prosperity at the cost of yours. And capitalism and imperialism are two sides of the same coin. Socialism came as an answer to this idea. Now, socialism talked about distributive justice. And socialism has different shades also. Utopian socialism, Fabian socialism, scientific socialism. And when we take the Marxian concept of scientific socialism as of China, and if we are doing a webinar today, not a seminar, My friend, my previous speaker was talking about mental illness in this time of COVID, from where this virus came and from where it originated, what mental setup has been behind this creation of biological warfare, where the lab was located, from where this virus emerged. We know all, it's open truth. And thus, socialism also failed as a humanistic approach to solve the problems of each and all of us. That's why Swami Vivekananda talked about Vedantic socialism. Vedanta at the base, socialism at the superstructure. If you are given 25 crore rupees and you are asked to spend it in this life, and you will not be allowed to hand it over to your offsprings in the next generation, and you have to spend it ethically according to the rules laid down by the government, you will not be able to spend the entire 25 crores in one life. So people, when they have ambitions of millions and millions and millions and billions of rupees, and they have ambitions of more, it is itself economic perversion. When a man of 60 years takes a wife of 16 years or 18 years, if you say it's a perversion, a 60-year-old man having an 18-year-old wife, if it's a perversion, in the same way, a man having millions and millions and billions of rupees and aiming for more is also a perversion. And how to turn this perverted economic man to a moral, spiritual, ethical man? Capitalism rather speaks in favor of accumulation of the wealth, accumulation of the surplus value. Socialism speaks that you rob that extra money accumulated by the capitalist, but we know how it was distributed. More among the party members than among the people. So what's the third way out? It's the Vedanta. You change the psychology of that man. You teach that man slowly, ethically, that this accumulation is neither helping him nor helping others. His happiness doesn't reside in the four walls of his multi-storied building, but it resides on the well-being of each and all. And more you want to make him conscious about this universality of humanity, more you try to make him aware of this oneness. There is no two but one. None of us are foreigners to each other. The entire world is a nest. Then only you can turn that unethical money maker to an ethical man maker. And the antibiotic you put is the Vedantic concept, the yogic concepts. So Swamiji talked about Vedantic socialism. socialism ensuring distributive justice, Vedanta ensuring the transformation of the man maker to a transforming the money maker into a man maker. And that's the thing you can do to solve the problem. And whenever you take this world in compartments and you choose a compartment of your own and try to develop that compartment, the other idea comes to your mind to develop that compartment at the cost of others. That's why you find that each nation has a rising defense budget because nobody trusts anyone. When my grandfather was dying, my grandmother told that what you kept for me, for my survival, when you pass away. My grandfather signaled out and told that I have kept my son. He will look after you, pointing at to my father. Do we have such faith in our sons and daughters? No. We have more faith in our life insurances and bank balances. The sons and the daughters we give birth and we take so much care, but we don't trust them. We know that they will not look after us when we are old. They will fly with their life partner, and I will be left alone to die if I don't have my reserves. So you are bringing up your own sons and daughters whom you don't believe with the utmost care. What a tragedy. And we speak about development, we speak about humanity, we speak about everything, but it's not present in our own residence at all. And there lies the contradiction. And if you want to come out of this contradiction, then only you can come out of the contradiction at the larger scale. The same contradiction in the house, it's at the miniature scale. At the international level, it's a wide scale. And that's why you find no peace anywhere. Because you find that if there is no peace, you are prospering. If there is peace, you will not prosper. If nations fight, you will sell arms. If communities fight, you can do politics. If brothers fight, you can grab their property. So this very idea that if others are fighting, I am gaining, if this idea remains the heart of the world politics, that has led to COVID type of a situation. When you want to prosper at the cost of others, when you want to gain from a trade war, otherwise you could have registered it and contained it at the very root when it took place in the far east of Asia, in Wuhan. And why you have not done? And why you are building up logics which are self-defeating? The entire world understands why you did it. No one is foolish. You did it. And you thought that this will lead to your prosperity at the cost of others. The First World War came with this perspective. The Second World War came with the same type of a perspective. And the undeclared Third World War came out of the same perspective. In this undeclared Third World War, more people will die than in the Second World War. More economics will be in doldrums than in the Second World War. We are in the midst of a war, undeclared Third World War. Economics are collapsing, people are dying, dear and near ones are passing away, crying lot around you. And those who have created the situation is building up logic just to save themselves. This mentality proves that we are still at the nursery stage of human development. We have called for prosperity at the cost of peace. Human, H for honesty, U for universality, M for morality, A for ability, and N for nobility. None exists. We are human in name, not in deeds, thoughts, and words, as I told in my lecture. And that's the fallacy, that's the problem we are having. So, as you told Prasenjit Babu, the answer to socialism and capitalism is Vedantic socialism. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
We have
okay, Dakshin, carry on.
we have a question from one of the audience. May I project it to you, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. The question is how dharma, moksha, karma, and samsara are tied together and how these are helping to reach the highest truth.
I have practically answered this in my entire lecture. Was she absent at that time? I don't know.
Sir,
This question I
yes.
have answered already. My entire lecture was on this. I
Yes.
think she came afterwards or okay, I will, when she has raised a question, I will talk it
I'm extremely sorry, sir.
in a brief. I will speak on it. Practically, I told that dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, these are four margas which are tied with four ashramas: brahmacharya, garastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. That is the way they are tied, each with the other. Brahmacharya with dharma, garastha with artha, vanaprastha with kama, that means desire for spirituality, and moksha with sannyasa. So, this is the way the worldly desires are tied with spiritual desires. And the explanation I have already given in my lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I always think that without spirituality, science never been completed. As Swami Ranganathanandaji's lecture, I have read that scientific spirituality and spiritual science. Actually, sir, you have completed today's our discussion with so deep analysis of Vedanta and give us a clear concept how a samsari, so-called householder, can dream about the spiritual achievement and moksha. Thank you, sir. Thank you a lot. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to the next speaker of this session, an eminent academician and researcher, Dr. Rajiv Chaudhary. Dr. Chaudhary is professor in physical education and head of School of Studies in Law and Joint Proctor and Dean Students Welfare, Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. He is also the visiting faculty in Jan Duglos University, Poland, as well as the Trier University of Applied Sciences, Germany. His research interests include yoga, meditation, neuropathy, and psychotherapy. He is also a black belt diploma in judo and has several publications in national and international journals in the fields of his interest. Previously, he has been lecturer in LNUPE Gwalior MP University under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, principal in SSP CPE Sardar Patel University, Gujarat, assistant professor in Banaras Hindu University, and associate NCC officer in Armed Squadron NCC, BHU, India. Dr. Chaudhary will be presenting his lecture on the factual essence of pranayama. Over to Dr. Chaudhary.
Thank you, madam. Sincere thanks to you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Eminent personalities from different fields, each and every unit associated with this organization, participants, friends, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I would like to express my sincere thanks to organizers for providing me an opportunity to speak in front of you on this Belvedere. I am feeling great pleasure as I have got this opportunity. Dear friends, since I am assigned a topic from the field of yoga and I will speak on the factual essence of pranayama, so I will concentrate on pranayama only. Before that, I would like to share a Sanskrit shlok from Yoga from Isha Upanishad. The shloka is about the significance of yoga. Shlok is Netasya rogo nejara nemrtu praptasya yogagnima shariram. Means those who attain their body perfected through the fire of yoga does not have old age, illness, or even death. We know that we cannot deny death, but here the word no death means to become free from the cycle of birth and death. That is known as moksha. We all know that there are different limbs of yoga: yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Not only limbs, there are different yoga practices also. So it is not possible to discuss about all the practices of yoga or all the limbs of yoga in the limited duration of time. So I decided to speak on pranayama based on scientific facts, based on factual essence. I am starting my presentation. Madam, is it visible on full
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yes, sir. No, not on full. Yes, sir. Now it is visible on full screen.
Okay. I will
Okay.
speak on the title, Factual Essence of Pranayama. In this title, there are three important words: factual, second one is essence, third is pranayama. Factual means that is based on facts, that is truth. Essence means something important that tells us about the importance, and pranayama is one limb out of all limbs of yoga. So I will discuss a significance of pranayama on the basis of scientific facts. Before that, we should have an idea of hatha yoga. There are different yoga practices, as I have explained earlier. Also, there is a mantra yoga, tantra yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga. Out of all yoga practices, one is hatha yoga. If we see this word hatha, This consists of two subwords, two subletters, that is ha and tha. Each has a meaning, each has a specific meaning. Let us start with the first, that is ha, H-A, ha. Ha means that denotes Pingla Nadi. Pingla Nadi is a symbol of sun and indicated by ha to produce heat. So this Pingla Nadi, this has warm effect. Due to its warm effect, this Nadi is known as Surya Nadi. We know that Surya indicates warmness. But the important physiological point is this nadi, that is Pingla nadi, or we can say that that is Surya nadi. This is responsible for the functioning of our two major systems. And what are our two major systems? Circulatory system and respiratory system. On the other hand, second word, that is tha. Tha means this denotes Ida nadi. This is a symbol of moon and indicated by tha. This produces coolness, and due to its coolness, due to the coolness of this nadi is known as Chandra nadi. We know that, as we have discussed, that Pingla nadi is responsible for the functioning of two major systems, that is circulatory system and respiratory system. So, on the other hand, this nadi, that is Ida nadi or Chandra nadi, this nadi is responsible for the functioning of our excretory system, that is passing of stool, passing of urine, passing of sweat, all controlled by this Ida nadi. For the optimal functioning of the body, or we can say that for rejuvenation, the balance between these two nadis, that is Pingla nadi and Ida nadi, is required. Otherwise, rejuvenation is not possible. We can't attain positive health. We can't attain good health, optimal health. So, after the brief description of the Hatha Yoga, since pranayama is a part of Hatha Yoga, it isn't we do it forcefully. Hatha Yoga is also known as forceful yoga. And the principles of Hatha Yoga, principle is to maintain the balance between Ha and Tha, to maintain the balance between Ida and Pingla Nadi. Since we have discussed that without maintaining the balance between these two nadis, that is Ida and Pingla Nadi or Surya and Chandra Nadi, positive health is not possible. And this balance state between Ha and Tha is performed by the third Nadi, by Sushmana Nadi. One more question may arise in the mind of listeners, that what do you mean by nadis? Nadis are micro vessels where the prana flows. Another question may arise in the mind of listeners, that is, what do you mean by prana? Prana is that vital force, that is a drop of cosmic consciousness that enters in the body. Due to that vital force, we are alive. And this prana, this vital force, flows through nadis. These are micro vessels. Out of all nadis, as per the yogic concept, there are 72,000 nadis. It means there are 72,000 micro vessels in our body. Out of all micro vessels, out of all nadis, three are main. Out of three, we have discussed about two, that is Ida nadi and Pingla nadi. And balance between Ida and Pingla is required for positive health, and that is maintained by the third main nadi, that is known as Sushmana nadi. Sushmana nadi is situated at our spinal cord, passing all chakras, and chakras are our energy centers. Different types of energies are produced by these chakras. So, our purpose is to maintain the balance between Ida and Pingla nadi that takes place by the help of Sushmana nadi. And one more concept in front of you is by awakening of Kundalini. Then another question arises, what do you mean by Kundalini? Kundalini is a spiritual energy. We all are born with this spiritual energy. In some individual, this may be hidden. We have to activate. We have to awaken this energy. We have to awaken this spiritual energy. In inactivated state, the Kundalini resides at the last part of our spinal cord, that is known as sacrum or sacral bone. This bone is known as holy bone, and by the help of pranayama, we can maintain the balance between Ha and Tha by the help of Sushmana Nadi, and we can awaken the Kundalini. It means we can awaken and we can activate our spiritual energy. And due to that reason, spiritual development takes place. As per Maharshi Patanjali, we know that Maharshi Patanjali gave the clear exposition about the spiritual development of the individual. As per Maharshi Patanjali, spiritual development of the individual depends on two factors. Without attaining these two factors, we cannot think about spirituality. First required factor is individual must be able to fix the wandering mind. Second one is individual must be able to break the obstacle which is in between individual and spiritual light. Both these factors, that is to fix the wandering mind, and second one is to break the obstacle which is in between individual and spiritual light. Both can be attained by a single practice, that is pranayama. So pranayama has a great significance. We should adopt this in our daily practice. But my purpose is only factual essence of pranayama. I will discuss about only factual essence of pranayama. In science point of view, we know that nothing new, but I am creating a base to proceed further. All metabolic activities in our body are divided into two categories. It means there are two different types of metabolic activities. One is catabolic, another is anabolic. Catabolic means the energy source is broken down to release energy and heat, and that is controlled by our Pingala Nadi. That is Surya Nadi. On the other hand, the activity which are anabolic in nature, these synthesize and restore the energy sources, and these are controlled by Ida Nadi. It means Chandra Nadi, that has a cold effect. So, to understand in a better way, we should have some idea about our metabolism. Metabolism means we eat food, and this food releases energy. Since we all require energy, we without energy we cannot carry out our daily task, and or we cannot delay the fatigue for longer duration. And this takes place, this energy is released in two stages. First stage is complex molecules broken down or decomposed in the simple ones, and the second one is in the second stage simple food components or simple molecules. Example is in front of you, that is glucose. This is oxidized in cytoplasm and mitochondria, and in mitochondria we know that oxygen is present, and using oxygen converted into carbon dioxide and H2O and release ample amount of energy, and we use this energy to carry out our daily task. So we have discussed about this. The second stage, the important point is the second stage involves respiration, where oxygen is inhaled and carbon dioxide is exhaled. We inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide, and chemical reactions occurring called biochemical reactions of two basic types, that is catabolism and anabolism. In brief, earlier also we have discussed about catabolism and anabolism. Now I will discuss in detail about these two, catabolism and anabolism. I will start from catabolism. Catabolism means breakdown of complex molecules into the simple ones. This reaction is destructive, gives energy in the form of heat, called exergonic reaction. On the other hand, an example is our digestion, our respiration. On the other hand, anabolism means the synthesis of complex molecules from simple ones. It is constructive in nature, opposite to first one, and this process requires energy called endergonic reaction. An example is protein synthesis. I have quoted one example of anabolism, and I have quoted an example of catabolism also. But here our purpose is to understand the practice of pranayama scientifically. What are the scientific effects of pranayama? And this collectively, that is catabolism and anabolism, collectively, both together, these are known as metabolism. And the functions of these two types of hormones It means in case of the anabolic hormones, these are typically associated with the increased sex drive and serve to synthesize proteins and facilitate muscle growth. Examples are insulin, testosterone, estrogen. On the other hand, catabolic hormones work opposite effect of, and these erode muscles, tissue or muscle size and decrease inflammation. Examples are cortisol, glucagon, progesterone, and adrenaline. But the important fact is, we should remember this fact. We should keep in the entirety of our mind about this fact. That is, the body requires similar amount of both types of hormones to remain in homeostasis. But long duration activities produce much more catabolic hormones. Example is cortisol, then do anabolic hormones, this suppressing testosterone production in men and depleting estrogen levels in women. And we can assume about the negative effects. There is no need to explain about the negative effects. So there should be balance between these both types of hormones. Here is in red color, you are seeing that long duration activities. Since in society, different types of yoga practices are in practice. For example, some practice dynamic Surya Namaskar. They practice for 100, 200, 300, 400 repetitions they perform. And for in case of pranayama also, if we perform for a longer duration, it means the long duration activities produce much more catabolic hormones. Since nowadays we are facing COVID-19 pandemic and there is no vaccination in this situation, in the present scenario, we have only two protective layers. Before this pandemic, we were free to do any other type of activities, but nowadays we are residing in a protective layer and we have two protections only. First protection, our protection is precautions. We have to follow the precautions, and the second protection is to improve the immunity. So if we do long duration activities, the imbalance takes place between these two types of hormones, as well as the open window occurs immediately after the practice. In that case, our body becomes very sensitive for invading organisms. The invading or foreign substances may attack on our body. So I will not discuss in detail. The balance between catabolic and anabolic reaction is called as state of homeostasis, the state of optimal functioning of the body. And our expectation is our body should have optimal functioning. Our objective is that. So this takes place by the help of Sushmana Nadi, by maintaining the balance between the Ida and Pingla Nadi, or we can say that by maintaining the balance between Surya and Chandra Nadi. Now I will come to the main point, that is pranayama. Since I am directed by the organizers to speak in detail scientifically about the pranayama. Pranayama means this consists of two words, pran and ayam. Each word has a meaning. In narrow sense, pran is breathing activity and ayam is restraint or control. It means conscious manipulation. But in deeper sense, pran means that indicates energy that is responsible for all life activities in the human. Before also, in the starting of my presentation, I have explained that pran is that vital energy, vital force. Due to that, we are alive, and this flows by the help of nadis, through nadis. And ayam means expanse, or the field, the whole range of these pranic activities. It means expansion of the pran is known as pranayama in deeper sense. Facts about pranayama. These are the facts. Since my title is the factual essence of pranayama, I will discuss about different facts about pranayama. Pranayama is a process or a technique through which the practitioner who practice tries to control respiratory system, to control autonomic nervous system. He or she tries to control mainly parasympathetic nervous system. Important. There are several questions. These questions may arise in the mind of listeners, and I have listed some questions in front of you. Your questions may be: is pranayama help in lengthening of the lifespan? This important question may arise in the mind of listeners. According to the Hindu mythology or yoga or Ayurveda, it is said that the human get fixed or counted breaths. It means we are born with a fixed breath. Is pranayama help in curing of all diseases? Can we cure disease or some critical disease? Another question may be: is pranayama helps in controlling the brain or mind? Can we control the brain? Since I have discussed that Maharshi Patanjali gave the clear exposition about the spiritual development of the individual, and for spirituality, individual must be able to fix the wandering mind, and we can control this wandering mind by the help of pranayama. So we can say that yes, we can control the activities of brain or mind by practicing pranayama. It is justified. And our, I will discuss about respiratory system also, since this practice is closely associated with our respiratory system. The human respiratory system is, is a series of organs responsible for taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. Respiratory system is a semi-involuntary in nature. It is partially involuntary in nature. We know that voluntary movements is a control by cerebral cortex, and involuntary is controlled by medulla oblongata. In pranayama depends upon the accumulation of the ratio of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body or of an individual. My presentation is concentrated on this comment. Again, I repeat, the nature of pranayama depends upon accumulation of ratio of an individual, of a practitioner. So, if we divide the pranayama in different classes, if we classify all pranayama practices, single type of classification is not possible, since different experts of yoga, different eminent personalities from the field of yoga, they classified pranayama in different ways by taking different bases. But my classification is based on the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body. And this, as per this division, we can classify the pranayama into two categories on the basis of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Pranayama can be divided into two categories. First one is oxygen based pranayama, and second one is carbon dioxide based pranayama. I have listed few pranayama practices that comes under the category of oxygen based pranayama, that is Bhastrika pranayama, Kapalbhati or Sudarshan Kriya. I have put a star on Kapalbhati as well as Sudarshan Kriya. Why? Some believe that, some yogis believe that this is a part of Shat Kriyas. As per the standardized text, this Kapalbhati comes under the category of Shuddhi Kriya. But few experts believe that since this is a respiratory practice, this may exist in pranayama, that is oxygen based pranayama. On the other hand, carbon dioxide based pranayama are Anulom Vilom pranayama, Ujjayi pranayama, Bhastrika pranayama, Murcha pranayama. These are the examples of carbon dioxide. It means I have classified into two categories, but the basis on the basis of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Some practitioners believe it is pranayama regarding this sentence is regarding Kapalbhati. Some practitioners believe it is pranayama, and some believe it is a part of Shat Kriyas or Shuddhi Kriyas. Shat Kriyas means it's 1 out of 6 cleansing practices. And regarding Sudarshan Kriya, it is a type of breathing technique. So I have mentioned this but in standardized text of yoga, it is not mentioned. According to this concept is originated as per the concept of art of living. And the important note is respiratory rate under 12 or over 25 breath per minute in resting condition is considered abnormal in medical science. Since we have to, in this, we should take care about that. We will discuss this. But during practicing pranayama, either we have to retain our breath or we have to increase the strokes per minute. I will discuss the pranayama of both the types in detail. That is oxygen based pranayama, as well as I will discuss about the carbon dioxide based pranayama also. Oxygen based pranayama, this flush out carbon dioxide from the body and to increase the concentration level of oxygen in the body. It means by practicing this pranayama, it means the question arises, why these pranayamas are known as oxygen based pranayamas? Since these pranayamas, if we practice the pranayama from this category, this increase the concentration level of oxygen in the body from the normal level. And the practitioners try to increase the rate of respiration at least 25 or above 120 breath per minute. Example is in Kapalbhati. It means we increase the strokes per minute. It means we increase the breath per minute. It goes up to 120 strokes per minute. So main point is, if we practice these types of pranayamas, the concentration level of oxygen increased in the body. So due to this reason, these pranayamas are known as oxygen based pranayama. The minute ventilation of an adult man at resting condition is 5 to 8 liters per minute. But during Bastrika Pranayama, that is an example of oxygen based pranayama. In the previous slide, I have shown that in normal resting condition, our minute ventilation is in between 5 to 8 liters per minute. But in oxygen based pranayama, and Bastrika Pranayama is one of an example of that oxygen based pranayama. In this pranayama, the minute ventilation, first you should have an idea about minute ventilation also. Minute ventilation means respiratory rate into tidal volume, and tidal volume means vital capacity. Vital capacity means the total amount of air expelled in one breath. So this is a minute ventilation. In this Bhastrika Pranayama, the minute ventilation is 120 liters per minute approximately, but in a resting condition that I have discussed is 5 to 8 liters. See the difference between these. In resting conditions, only 5 to 8 liters per minute, but in this Bhastrika Pranayama, there is an example of oxygen-based pranayama. It rises up to 120 liters per minute approximately. And during Kapalbhati and Sudarshan Kriya, this minute ventilation is 120 into 0.2. 0.2 means this is tidal volume. That is 24 liters per minute approximately. So this process is called as hyperventilation. It means alveolar ventilation. Since amount of oxygen increases in our body, this is the state of hyperventilation. Means when more carbon dioxide is removed from the bloodstream, then the body can produce. As a result, what is the result behind this? The concentration of carbon dioxide falls down in the body, and this condition is called as hypoxemia. This condition arises in the body. And what do you mean by this term, hypocapnia? This leads to cerebral vasoconstriction. And then the question arises, what do you mean by cerebral vasoconstriction? This leads to cerebral hypoxia. It means blackout, shallow water blackout. It means a low partial pressure carbon dioxide in the blood cause a respiratory. It means we can say the rise in the blood pH value, which lead to lowered plasma calcium, ions or phosphate level, which may cause, there are some positive effect also. So there should be, my point is, there should be balance between the oxygen-based pranayamas and carbon dioxide-based pranayamas. I will discuss in my suggestions at the last of my presentation. Now, I will discuss about the second part, second type of pranayama that comes under another category that we have classified earlier, that carbon dioxide based pranayamas. This increase the concentration level of carbon dioxide in the body, just opposite to oxygen based pranayama. As we have discussed that in oxygen based pranayama, the amount of oxygen increases in our bloodstream in our body, but in this carbon dioxide based pranayama, this increases the concentration level of carbon dioxide in the body. The practitioners try to lengthen our breath voluntarily by slowing down the breathing rate, by maintaining the ratio among inhalation, retention, and exhale. It means we have to retain by the help of kumbhaka. Kumbhaka means retention, pause. Since in carbon dioxide based pranayama, first we inhale, that is known as purak, and then we have to retain our breath, that is known as kumbhak, and we have to exhale, that is known as rechak. So by maintaining the kumbhak or by retaining our breath, we have to hold the breath, we have to lengthen our breath. According to heart yoga texts, the time duration of exhale should always be double of inhale. It is suggested by the experts. And the time duration of retention should at least double or more. It means the ratio of 1:2 or 1:4 may be maintained between Purak, Kumbhak, and Rechak, means inhalation, retention, and exhalation. It is suggested. According to Vayu Puran, for first level of Udgata, Kumbhak phase should be 48 seconds. For the beginners, it is difficult. For second level of Udgata practitioners, Kumbhak phase should be 96 seconds. For third level of Udgata, Kumbhak phase should be 124 seconds. So 48 seconds to retain up to 48 seconds is not too difficult, but a long-term practice is required to retain our breath during kumbhaka, during practicing any pranayama that comes under the category of carbon dioxide based pranayama. It is very difficult to hold up to 124 seconds. This state is known as hypoventilation. During discussing the previous category, that was the state of hyperventilation. This is known as hypoventilation. Then the question arises, what do you mean by hypoventilation? Hypoventilation is the process of voluntarily slowing down of respiratory rate, is called as hypoventilation, and due to which the concentration level of carbon dioxide increases in the body. This condition is called as hypercapnia. That was known hypocapnia, and this is known as hypercapnia. The adverse effect of hypercapnia on the body, what are the negative effects of this? If we increase carbon dioxide in the bloodstream, what will be the negative effects? It means CO2 poisoning. In this, CO2 poisoning have been linked to the central nervous system and permanent deterioration of respiratory function. If we increases CO2 in our bloodstream, this is the negative effect. This affects the pH level of blood. If prolonged, may cause injury to body's cells, low blood pressure, as well as cardiac problems. So these are the negative effect of this when the amount of carbon dioxide increases in our bloodstream or in our body. The prolonged state of this may also cause temporary or permanent nerve damage. So these are the may lead to visual disturbances and may cause to respiratory failures also, and individual or the practitioners may enter into the coma or even death if it increases too much. So we have discussed about the adverse effect of both the types of pranayamas. that is oxygen based pranayamas also and carbon dioxide based pranayamas. So now some more questions may arise in the mind of a practitioner, that what are the positive health effects of atmospheric carbon dioxide enrichment? Is there any evidence the historical rise in the air's carbon dioxide content has been good for us? If the carbon, if we live or if we breathe in an atmosphere where the carbon dioxide amount is more, is there any positive effect? So there are some collections on the basis of some articles, few examples which prove that high concentration of carbon dioxide helps to improve the longevity of life. We can increase our age. I have collected some information. First example is the naked mole rat, found naturally in the hot regions of Eastern Africa. This naked mole rat is a type of rodent that lives strictly underground in the large. Naked mole rat reproduce for their entire lifespans. This is the main point. They reproduce for entire lifespan. There's no age limit for that. They don't feel pain after being burnt with acid. Their brains can withstand over 30 minutes without oxygen, without damage, and in the natural habitats, they are immune to cancer. And while the average lifespan for most of the rats, that is the most important point, less than 2 years, the naked mole rat can live around 30 years. See the difference between these two. On one side, the average age is about 2 years or less. On the other hand, in the category of this, that around 30 years, making it that longest lived rodent known on the earth. The exceptional longevity and disease resistance of naked mole rat have researchers calling it a true supermodel for aging research and resistance to chronic age associated diseases. And see, on the earth, the amount of carbon dioxide is in front of you. It means near to 0.04%, and oxygen is 20.95% approximately on the air on earth. But where the mole rat live, this amount of carbon dioxide is 6.1% approximately. It is approximate. On the other hand, oxygen is only 7.2%. So, as per the experts, as per the researchers, as per the comments of researchers, it is proved that if we perform carbon dioxide based pranayamas, in which we improve or we increase the amount of carbon dioxide in our body, that may lead to increase our age. One example is this. And another example is of queen bee. In honeybee hives, worker bee carefully regulate the concentration of carbon dioxide, which can be as high at 6% remarkably. The lifespan of a queen bee is more than 40 times that of a worker bee. See the difference? It is higher than the 14 folds. So, while the queen is in the hive, protected by the high concentrations of carbon dioxide, the worker bees are out breathing regular atmospheric air and consuming the normal air, which is high in unsaturated fat and produces large amount of free radicals in the absence of carbon dioxide. This is another example. I have discussed about two examples in which, due to carbon dioxide concentration, the that leads to this evidence, as per the evidence, this leads to increase in the age. The lifespan of a queen bee is more than 40 times, as I have discussed earlier also, that of a worker bee due to the carbon dioxide enrichment within the hive. Third example is long-lived Siberian bat. This is the third example that proves that yes, if the amount of carbon dioxide increases in the body or bloodstream, that increases our lifespan. Bats are physiologically the same as mice, we know that, and as such are destined to live smaller lifespan. However, the oldest surviving bat ever is this is known as Siberian rat that lived more than 41 years in the wild. The researchers measuring the air quantity in the caves where the bat live, this discovered that carbon dioxide concentrations are significantly higher than that of outside air. There is a significant difference in the concentration of carbon dioxide inside and outside. For example, in drum cave, that is this concentration of carbon dioxide rises over 6% in summer when nursery colony, where contains more than 1,000 identified bats is present. So this is third example on the basis of researchers revealed that yes, due to the more concentration of the carbon dioxide, age increases. Now, I will discuss some about the examples of high altitudes related to humans. People living at high altitudes have shown a similar to long-lived creatures above that we have discussed earlier about three, including reduced rates of heart disease and cancer compared to people living in sea level. This is also observed. And what's the link between living of altitude and carbon dioxide? Is there any link? Yes, there's a link. The decrease in oxygen pressure that occurs at elevation means there is a less oxygen pressure pushing carbon dioxide out the cells, allowing the body to retain more carbon dioxide. So, in 2009, a Swiss study, I have collected few researches. In 2009, a Swiss study involving 1.64 million people, the study was conducted on a large sample, very large sample, huge population, found that the benefit of altitude began at the elevation of about 900 meters, and that for every 1,000 meter increases in elevation, mortality from the heart disease decreases by 22%. That is a significant decrease in mortality. And mortality from stroke decreases by 12%. This is also a significant decrease. On the other hand, one more study I have quoted in San Francisco, uh, researchers reported that 12.7% drop in lung cancer for every 1,000 meter increase in elevation. It means at high altitude. The benefits of altitude begin at the elevation from 900 meter, and for every 1,000 meter increase in elevation, mortality from heart disease decreases by 22% and mortality from stroke decreases by 12%. This justifies that yes, high altitude has also positive effect on us. And the reason is increase in the carbon dioxide concentration in our body. So another study, in a study of mortality over the period that is conducted in between 1950 to 1994 in the G7 countries and including Canada, France, Germany, excluding the former East Germany, including Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom, and the United States also. And this is study was conducted in the year 2000, found that in every country over this period, mortality at each age has declined at a roughly constant rate. Another studies in front of you, and I will not discuss about different studies since I have presented few studies in front of you, and this proves that if the carbon dioxide amount increases in a body, that has positive effect on our life. So hence it can be uh, concluded that this carbon dioxide pranayamas has one negative effect also, but these have positive effects also. But main point is, look at the few facts before considering carbon dioxide as a bad gas. We put carbon dioxide in the category of a bad gas. So some few facts should be kept in the mind. First one is, under normal circumstances, it's carbon dioxide that controls our breathing, not oxygen. That is the more important fact we should keep in our mind. Carbon dioxide is a powerful antioxidant, a blood vessel dilator, and it drives oxygen to the cells. Third fact is, people experiences sleep apnea. It means cessation of breathing benefits from higher level of carbon dioxide. They felt benefits from higher level of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide in the form of medical gas, 1% to 10% has been used to patients with asthma for therapeutic effects. This is also used as a treatment. So, fifth is, studies suggest that carbon dioxide levels higher than 5% are used for treating patients with uh, to stimulate breathing in prematurely born infants. Furthermore, breathing into a paper bag is often recommended for patients with panic attacks. This is also recommended. And Russian scientists discovered that if someone is unhealthy, it means there is an insufficient layer of carbon dioxide in the body. One reason may be this. So it is also noted that carbon dioxide has a calming effect on the nervous system. That is the main effect. More important effect we should keep in our mind, and up to certain limits has been found to reduce anxiety. In nowadays, in this pandemic, in this COVID-19 pandemic, there is a problem of anxiety, depression, and stress. When administered in the form of a mixture concentrating 65% of carbon dioxide and 30% of oxygen, this would help our mind to undergo a meditational state. We may enter in the meditational state. It is also revealed by expert. In light of the many and bizarre observations, since we have discussed about different examples on the basis of different studies, it should be clear that elevated levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide have a host of positive effect on the health. This has a positive effect as well as the health of the most of animate world. Since from animate world also I have presented few examples in front of you. So unveiling of the hidden facts of the pranayama, the regular practice of pranayama helps in longevity and healthy life of the individual. Controlled hypoxia may help in promoting the our defects related to our heart and bone marrow. Through regular practice of pranayama, a yogi tries to control auto nervous system, especially parasympathetic nervous system. In pranayama, he or she works again and again against the involuntary control system during practicing pranayama. The longevity healing, and other health related effects of carbon dioxide and hypoxia. Through controlling the respiratory system, they means practitioners could control parasympathetic nervous system. They developed the techniques through which an individual can self-induces voluntarily hyperventilation or hypoventilation, that is called as pranayama. Important is the after pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, uh, we should practice pranayama. So there should be balance between this both the types of pranayamas, that is carbon dioxide based pranayamas and oxygen based pranayamas. Our suggestion is, these are not my suggestions, these are the suggestions by the different experts. Practice the correct technique of the pranayama, always practice. It means it has been mentioned in the standardized literature that pranayama should be practiced under correct supervision, under the supervision. Don't be impatient while doing practice of pranayama. It means this has, there are some immediate effect of some pranayama practices also. The anulom vilom pranayama has immediate effect, but in case of some pranayamas, it has delayed effect. It means we may see the effects may visible after few days. That is a final outcome of the practice session. So we should not expect that immediately we will get the benefits. Third is increase carbon dioxide oxygen tolerance capacity slowly and slowly. It means we have to increase kumbhaka gradually. It, since our body requires adaptation, otherwise adaptation will not take place. So we have to improve slowly. Do not practice under the supervision. Do the practice under the supervision of expert. I have explained earlier also. If you feel any physical and physiological problem while practicing pranayama, immediately stop the practice and consult your yoga expert or a doctor. We should not wait about that. And my presentation is based on different references. I have presented these references in front of you, and for my presentation, my sincere thanks to Dr. Anil Chauhan. I'll regarding this presentation, I collected a lot of information from the Dr. Anil Chauhan. I was highly impressed by his presentation, the presentation given by Dr. Anil Chauhan regarding the scientific basis of pranayama. He is working as a assistant professor in a college of Uttar Pradesh. So again, I express my sincere thanks to all the organizers, and especially each and every unit associated with this organization for providing me an opportunity to speak in front of you. And now over to the organizers, please. You may ask any question, or the listeners or the participants may ask any question. Thank you. Thanks to you.
Thank you, sir, for explaining wonderfully the essence of pranayama in our daily life with the various concepts. Sir, with your due permission, I would like to project the questions we have received so far.
Sure, madam. Sure, Jaru. Sure.
Thank you, sir. At the time, at the same time, can we do oxygen and carbon dioxide based pranayama?
Madam, we should practice alternatively on alternate days. It is suggested by experts.
Thank you, sir. Are there any more questions from the delegates here? Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for your beautiful presentation. We are honored to have you with us.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Between our next session, next lecture is about different government policies about the yoga, which will be delivered by Dr. Shubhadeep Ganguly. But we have some time left before his lecture, so I would like to discuss something about the stress and homeostasis. I would like to share some concept which I was found, which I have found in a lecture of Swami Ranganathanandaji. As you will know that Swami Ranganathanandaji was one of the greatest Vedantic ambassador after Swami Vivekananda, who each and every year who used to move throughout the world, 3 or 4 months span, and used to preach different ideas of Vedanta. He was become the 13th President Maharaj of Ramakrishna Martin Mission. One of the most important area of his research or discussion was always about the coexistence of science and religion. So it was one of the most emphasis, he always used to give emphasis in science and religion, coexistence of science and religion. He used to say that spirituality and science must be correlated with each other. Scientific studies must be spiritual, and spirituality or religion must be scientific. So, from one of his lectures, I have got some ideas about the stress and homeostasis, whatever told by him. I want to share with you. In physiology, two terms are very important. One is stress, another one is homeostasis. Homeostasis is defined as the state of steady internal physical and chemical condition. That means a calm and quiet situation where all the internal physical and chemical conditions remain steady. And anything disturbs our homeostasis is known as stress. But there is a great problem in the field of stress and homeostasis research, because you see, when you can measure stress, you can measure stress only when there is an absolute homeostasis. But where will you find absolute homeostasis? In this problem, French physiologist Claude Barnard, giving reference to Sir Joseph Barkov, wrote that, one minute, within quote, how often I watched the ripple on the surface of a still lake making by passing boat, noted their regularity and admired their pattern, formed when two such ripple systems met. But the lake must be calm. To look for high intellectual development in a milieu whose properties have not become stabilized is to seek ripple pattern on the surface of stormy Atlantic. So this is a problem. But is there any absolute homeostasis? Great physiologist Gray Walter said that, within quote, the experience of homeostasis, the perfect mechanical calm which it allows the brain, has been known for 2 or 3 thousand years under various appellations. It is the physiological aspect of all perfection is faith, nirvana, the abstractions of yogi, the peace that passeth understanding, the derived happiness that lies within. It is state of grace in which disorders and diseases are mechanical slips and errors. Swami Ranganathanandaji correlated this view of Grey Walter with the verse of Kathopanishad. यदा पंच यदा पंचबतिष्ठन्ते यानानि मनसा सह बुद्धिश्चन विचिष्टते तमाहु परमांगतिम तं yogamiti mannante. When five sense organs of knowledge, along with the manasa, the sixth organ, become steady, and the buddhi, or the faculty of reason or discrimination, also does not act, it is called the supreme state that is known as yoga. So here we find that modern science is to understand our ancient concept of yoga, and that is the only way how we can understand properly about the scientific findings whatever we are getting today. So here is mainly two things. In one hand, we have to understand the theories, modern theories, and for this purpose, we need to understand yoga. And another thing which is very important, we have to understand the philosophy which is underneath our yogic concept, because in modern society we are we are continuously discovering many things and many external things whatever we are discovering for our external pleasures only, and most of the our research or invention never give happiness to the society, but it creates destruction to life, liberty, as a life, to our life, liberty, and prosperity. So, in this regard, we always need to discuss about the yogis principle, and this is why we think our webinar is very important or very relevant in modern society, in the aspect of modern society. Okay, that's all. Over to Dakshan.
Thank you, sir. I would like to request Acharya Brahmdev ji to kindly say a few words. Acharya ji, can you hear me? We are really sorry there is a problem with network connection at the end of Acharya ji. So with this we come to the end of the first session for the day. We shall be resuming the second session and final session of the two-day international webinar at 3:30 p.m. sharp. Thank you.